All right, let's move on. Ooh, okay. God, I'm a little nervous about this next topic. So I read a headline over the weekend that basically said that Maria Menounos, who is a notable host in Hollywood, I think she hosted with Maria Lopez. I think it was Extra. And then she was on E for a hot second, and she had a reality show for a hot second. So there was a headline that I read that said Maria Menounos and her husband Kevin Undergaro are said to be producing a new reality show for Faith Stowers, who you may remember as she wasn't a main cast member, but she was on Vanderpump Rules. And then when we had all of the Stassi and Kristen stuff come up earlier this year, where they where it came out where Faith revealed that they had called the cops on her, or didn't call the cops on her, but called into like a tip line so that they can, because they thought that she was a woman that was robbing people in West Hollywood, and that was a whole scandal. So now Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro are apparent. So over the last week, there were some sources that revealed that Faith was shopping around a new reality show about, I believe it was similar to Vanderpump Rules, but with like a lot more diversity, and it was supposed to be like a more inclusive cast, and that they were going to quote unquote make Faith the Black Lisa Vanderpump, the Black LVP, and that was kind of the concept, is they were going to take the concept of Vanderpump Rules and make it just a more inclusive and diverse cast. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. Not necessarily about Faith, but about the people that are producing this. Because, I feel like I might end up putting my foot in my mouth or revealing things that I don't think I'm under any like confidentiality agreements or anything. But so basically, I feel like there's a little bit of hypocrisy in this. I'm about to spill some tea I feel like this is a cop, and I'm addressing this because I posted it on my Instagram and some people had some questions about it, but I feel like there's a little bit of hypocrisy here because something that wasn't, I guess, revealed. Well, so a few months ago, around the time that, all of the Stassi and Kristen stuff had gone down, Maria and Kevin were kind of put into a bit of some hot water with a network. They have I guess it's an online network that I used to be a part of. I left a while ago, I left a long time ago, but I did it for maybe a little over a year and a half, where I was a host, and they had a studio where different hosts could come in and host different after shows for their favorite TV shows. I did that for about a year and a half. And then I kind of was just like, I don't feel like the hosts here are really valued, one, none of us were paid. They didn't pay any of the hosts. None of us got a single, not even a gas stipend, like absolutely not a penny. And it was because they led us to believe that there were going to be opportunities that were going to be built through this network. That, for me, I just realized that didn't seem to be the case. And I saw people that were there for years, and that never seemed to be the case for them either. So for me, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to move on and continue on my own journey to build my own podcast, which I already had prior to being part of that network. And so earlier this year, they caught a little heat from a lot of the hosts within the Black community that basically felt like their voices weren't necessarily being heard, or look, I'm just recapping this very briefly because I wasn't directly involved in all of this, but I remember watching it all play out earlier in the year. But basically, there was a lot of heat from the Black hosts at the network, and they were really upset that they felt like there was a little bit of discrimination from some of the staff members, and that, the community wasn't necessarily being appreciated or acknowledged the way that they should have been, considering AfterBuzz had a separate subsection of the company that was called Black Hollywood Live. So I never really had any experience with Black Hollywood Live. I didn't even really see anybody film Black Hollywood Live in the time that I was there. But they did catch a lot of heat, and I believe they were trying to address it or trying to work on it. But the last I saw was they ended up selling off Black Hollywood Live to somebody else, and kind of just cleaned their hands of that, and were like, okay, we hear you guys have concerns. This was all it was primarily over the summer when the whole Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd stuff, when the protests were happening throughout the country. That's when this became a really big thing within the AfterBuzz community. And last I heard, nothing was ever really addressed. They were more of like, okay, thanks for bringing this to our attention. We're going to look inside and kind of work on things. And I don't think they're even doing any after shows anymore. I don't know. I haven't been with the network at all this year. But I was still part of like Facebook groups and email lists and stuff. So that's why I was able to keep up with what was happening. And I have friends that were still part of the network or were still hosting shows for them. So this was all like secondhand information and just from what I was able to gather through the emails and Facebook posts. But it seemed to me like they never really addressed what their own community was asking them to do. And their solution kind of seemed to be to sell off the Black Hollywood Live part and to not really take into consideration the concerns. Again, I can't speak for any of those hosts or, how anybody felt in any way victimized or discriminated against. I can't speak to that. Those are stories of people that they can come out and share if and when they want to come out and share. But just from my own observation of it, I didn't see any resolution there. So for me, this looks like we're capitalizing off of a scandal that was really big because of Stassi and Kristen and Vanderpump Rules. And we had Faith Stowers, who, became a really influential person over the summer based off of, her sharing her experiences with Vanderpump Rules and with Bravo. And I just feel like clean up your house inside first before you then go out and jump and attach your name to a scandal that's then leaked to the press about how you're going to help, produce this reality show. I'm just saying, I never saw them produce any reality shows or, give any of the hosts at their network any of the opportunities that they're giving Faith Stowers right now. And it just feels a little hypocritical because I feel like there were many opportunities where they could have really helped a lot of their hosts. And that didn't seem to be the priority again, I was only there for a little over a year and a half. From what I saw, all I can do is speak to my own experience. It didn't feel like that was necessarily much of an option there. And I just feel like it's capitalizing off of a big scandal. And I'm just a little disappointed to see that because it just kind of reaffirms some of the things that I thought prior to leaving the network that I was kind of like, because they're not paying any of their hosts. So like they, are banking off of hard-earned, talented people that deserve these opportunities, that's not to say that Faith doesn't, but that's just like, I don't know. I was disappointed in it. And I felt like it was capitalizing off of a big scandal. And you should definitely look inside and clean up your house first before you go and try to, jump on somebody else's mansion. Just going to say that.